And the last character is Eleanor. This is not a case of the least for last. I actually rather like Eleanor. She has a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of interesting moves, and I'm going to kind of run through them. Her first 3 moves fill very similar purposes. She just spins her spear in 3 different ways. Vertical, horizontal, kind of in front of her. I really think the first one, the vertical one, is the holistically best one. They're all void element. I think they hit different nuance weaknesses. Okay, the one hits snake and the other 2 hit all of nothing. But they all could have their purpose, different basic footsie situations. Her 4th move is this spin wind move with really long cooldown that Alicia also had and was equally terrible on Alicia. You will never use it. But all of her other moves have purpose, so that's the only case of a move you're just going to forget about. Move 5 here is this quick fire spin, really good mid-combo move. Wait, what do I have on move? This move just kind of hits all around you. I don't use this one too much, but it could definitely be a good tool just to get things off you, or as a potential mid-combo move if you needed more void for some reason. You have this earth move. It kind of hits to the side. It can be real awkward to combo into this at mid-screen. Things kind of tend to fall out. But it hits earth, which she otherwise doesn't tend to do with her current moveset, and it is pretty quick, so it is very functional. Then she has this real nice rushing forward water spin move. This is definitely a bread and butter mid-combo move for her, or even an ender, honestly. Wait, she only has this one more move, physical move. And it's this jump up and dive move. This move, like most moves with similar animations, puts the enemy in very reliable hit stun, and it has a splash effect when it lands, so the hitbox is much bigger than you'd think. If you don't want to use one of those quick void spear moves, this is her other really good combo starter. And against certain enemy types, you can kind of just get spammy with this, and it tends to make it hard for them to act. Then her spells. Now, Eleanor seems at first like a real physical character, but she actually has a pretty solid spell list. I'm going to start with spell 3 because it fits into the rest of her game plan. It's this mini Divine Saber style move. It always hits directly in front of her no matter where she is. It has a moderate cast time. This is, I think, her primary combo ender. When you're just in there doing combos, you chain up, this cast real fast, hits real hard, splashes around. It does push enemies out, so it's hard to continue after it, but the damage is great, so that's its purpose. Her other 2 spells let her play more of the long-range game. She has Fireball, which hits... It doesn't go full screen, it only goes about half the screen. But it does hit 3 times and has that little juggle effect. The thing physically got in the way of my Fireball. But okay. So you basically can use this to start up spell chains, and then you transition into this incredible second move she has. I like to call this the wind tunnel. She just kind of aims forward and shoots a big laser of wind. And it has a pretty good cast time. It's really disruptive to enemies. You can kind of just use this a lot, and it will accomplish your purposes for you. And then her last spell is a healing spell. It's Healing Wind. It's really slow to cast. It does seem to heal a somewhat larger amount than some of the other healing moves, but all around, it's a pretty uninspiring heal move. Eleanor will probably mostly rely on other characters to do her healing for her, but that's okay. So, that's... To finish this fight off and get down to what Eleanor is more fundamentally, Eleanor is kind of a flex character. I don't think she's as good at Rush... Well, I know she's not as good at Rushdown as, like, Velvet, but she can still do it pretty okay. Whereas she has the long-range spell game where she's not just like Aizen looking to move in, she can actually just stay out and really poke with it very effectively. So Eleanor's kind of a utility character who can do a lot of things pretty well for you, and her basic combos are pretty effective. So what, I want the fire spin, the water spin. I certainly do not want the wind spin. I guess I'll just kind of use the earth one here, and I'll end with water. Then I'd like to have a whole button to this diving move, because it's kind of something you might want to do at any time. Yeah. And then you have your long-range projectile game and your ender. There's a lot of things you could do with her, and I kind of look forward to how that'll flesh out. So my basic bread and butter with her is, you know, just kind of do this, start spinning a bunch.
Spin to win.
Yes, spin to win. Eleanor the Hedgehog. And just chain into that. Kind of build up soul, and you can make these combos even longer and more impressive. And you can also, of course, always use this as a starter to go straight to the spinning. And the one thing I didn't mention is her burst. I'll show it off right here. Eleanor's burst is basically just a combo extending move. She does this big vertical poke that launches some enemies, knocks some enemies down, and just hits and doesn't do anything else to a lot of others. It's really not that great overall, but it can be used for some combo extensions if you need it and you just want to keep that going. I really hope that in the final game she has moves that just flow with it better, or skills that make it faster, because its animation is just a little too long to let Eleanor do everything I want her to do. And of course it also hits right in front of her, so against these tiny enemies it is very hard to properly combo into it. Against larger enemies it tends to be pretty easy.
Okay, so that covers going over all the characters. You know what, one thing we didn't really go too in depth in, I don't know if there are other videos out there talking about this. Have you just explain the basics of the combat engine itself, since we were talking about some of it? We can just, when we edit this, we can just put this on the playlist before the others.